It's the event of the year in Addis Ababa. 30,000 Ethiopians have descended on the capital for Africa's biggest road race. It's a big PR day for the country. In a matter of hours, the winner of this race will be known. But 6 months on from a far more important race, the general election, the winner is still in dispute. In spite of the political uncertainty, there's an impressive turnout from the international community for the race. Here's the British ambassador, on the right in a Panama hat, vigorously limbering up with help from his French counterpart.
And we have begun the 2005 Toyota Great Ethiopian Run.
This was the scene in Addis Ababa 6 months ago, as Channel 4 News exclusively revealed. University students protesting the results of Ethiopia's first free elections. They claim the government rigged the results against the opposition parties. The security forces responded with firepower and a wave of political arrests. At least 30 civilians were reportedly shot dead in June. These pictures provide evidence of large roundups. The demonstrators are saying, save us, as they are led away to waiting trucks. There have been more deaths and mass detentions since.
I'm saying that there was no peaceful demonstration as such. It was an uprising, and we put down an uprising. Regrettably, it involved loss of life, but it was not a peaceful demonstration at all.
As the runners make their way through the city, elsewhere in the capital, opposition leaders are led from their prison cells, watched by Ethiopian security officers. The leader of the CUD party, Hailu Shaul, was arrested on November the 1st. This was the first time he'd spoken publicly since his detention. He's critical of the international response to the crisis.
After all these people have died, the response has no place at the moment. It's not proportionate to what is happening to our people. People are dying.
An Ethiopian court has been ordered to bring charges within 12 days. They are likely to face charges of treason.
There is tons of evidence that they called for insurrection, and that will be presented to an open and independent court in less than a week.
What is this evidence that you have?
We have video evidence, we have audio evidence, we have written evidence, and we have witnesses, over 70 witnesses.
Friday I interviewed the Prime Minister, and he said that the government is going to produce evidence and show that the opposition was calling for insurrection even before the elections took place.
Any such evidence? Produce it, let them, because there is none. There is none.
As the opposition leader was being led back to his cell, he spoke of his concern about the recent mass arrests.
It shocks me when they say 50,000 of the youth in Addis have been herded away. This is unheard of. What's the purpose of this?
Hailu Shaul is referring to Didessa camp. Outside the capital, along this road to the west, and so far off limits to the media, Didessa is a former military base. Reports from former detainees tell of thousands being rounded up and dumped there. I found one man who had just been released from the camp. The interview took place at night in the back of a car to avoid being spotted by the security services.
Some prisoners were blinded, some had their legs broken, and others had their teeth smashed. Because of all these beatings, some could not walk. There were some who were shot in the legs and were left lying on the ground. I saw 30 people dying. They'd been beaten, and people are still dying. There are 43,000 prisoners in the camp.
How does he know it's 43,000?
That's what I heard the guards saying.
There's been reports of widespread beatings, human rights abuses taking place. No one has been allowed access to this camp.
As we speak, there are religious leaders, journalists, and NGOs visiting those detention camps, but not foreigners, not foreign embassies.
Would foreign journalists be allowed to go to the Odessa camp?
I believe so.
Is that a guarantee we can have?
Sure.
Despite assurances from the Prime Minister saying on tape that I could visit Odessa, the promised trip never materialised.
It's extremely worrying. We haven't witnessed anything like this in Ethiopia before. What worries us is that there's this news blackout, that we don't know what is going on.
The reports have alarmed the donor community in Addis Ababa, particularly the European Union, which provides €1 billion in aid.
We've been hearing from Odessa that there's been terrible atrocities taking place. I've personally had accounts of mass burials of people who died because of malaria, because of the insanitary conditions and so on. If these rumours are as we hear, then there are real major human rights abuses here which have to be resolved.
Are you aware of these human rights abuses taking place in the camp?
I have heard of these allegations. I will not take them at face value until they are investigated.
So widespread are the arrests, even government supporters have been detained. This man was held in Odessa for 11 days. He was only released after help from a family member with connections to the government.
When any prisoner asks to urinate, they immediately bring a big stick and they kick him in any part of his body. They didn't worry he might injure or he might die. They instinctively kick him. They kick even their supporter. So they do whatever they want to survive, to rule Ethiopia.
And that includes newspapers that don't support the government being closed down, text messaging being blocked. Even pop music has been targeted. This song by Teddy Afro, the Robbie Williams of Ethiopia, has been banned from government airwaves. His lyrics accuse the government of failing to bring any changes to Ethiopia.
There comes a point where our patience as an international community is running out. We would like to see tomorrow the media opened up, tomorrow the political detainees released, tomorrow the prisoners who've been taken without charge released, tomorrow the families and legal counsel given access. This is for us normal.
The international community has now warned that they are considering suspending aid if their concerns are not addressed. This does not seem to disturb the Prime Minister.
I believe we deserve the assistance from our friends, but if our friends feel otherwise, I respect their decision. After all, it's their money.
20 years ago, it was a British pop song that raised millions in donor aid money and alerted the world to Ethiopia's starving. Now, an Ethiopian pop star is sending out a distress signal for his country's fragile democracy. But is anyone listening?